The dark period of the Middle Ages has passed, and an era of discovery and enlightenment has commenced. But that certainly doesn't mean an era of peace. Religious crisis has led to new internal as well as international conflicts in Europe. That means that Holy Roman Emperor Charles V's dream for a continent of peace will not become a reality. The Catholics have by the Council of Trent 1545 defined several groups of Christians as heretics. The Muslims have taken the great Christian city of Constantinople, renaming it Istanbul. This has made it apparent that they are a power not to be ignored. But for Russia, this means they are now the capital of the Orthodox Church. But even though religious concerns are important, the interests of the state must trump these. Welcome to this showcase of Genevi's Heresy Europe, following the update of 2.4. It is a game of frequently changing diplomacy, built with consideration towards gameplay and history simulation. It's for 8 players, each playing as several factions of Europe during the wars of religion of the 16th and 17th century. It is based on the giant map Genevi's Europe, which is more of a standard real-world scenario, but in this scenario everyone starts in Imperial Age with units, buildings and defenses. All factions have their strengths and weaknesses and should make alliances to cover their deficiencies. The scenario has its own mod, which makes some important game mechanics work. In addition to the standard ways of winning, with a wonder or relics, in this case 3, there are 2 additional ways of winning. The hegemony concept allows you to win by having control over 2 out of 3 tall flags for 12 minutes. Or, as soon as the first player is eliminated, a relic card will be placed in the center of the map with which you can win by keeping it for half an hour of game time. Another big and important game mechanic is the rivalry system. After the first 10 minutes, 2 players will form their teams and battle over the central area of Germany. The other players then may choose which one of the 2 players they wish to support. After another 10 minutes, the rivalry concludes. Then the player who controls the flag in Würzburg will gain towers in Germany, while the leader of the team gains a relic in his capital. The players of the losing side, and anyone undecided, will take damage to defensive structures. After the next 10 minutes, new teams will be made and a new battle for the central area, and so on and so forth. The player who controls Rome short before the forming of teams may choose who is going to lead the coalitions. There is also a diplomatic tool in game called vassalage. With a king in the upper corner by the flags, you may choose a player to which you will be a vassal of. That is not a good thing, so you must carefully consider this before using this option. The player who you acknowledge as your overlord will not be affected, but your diplomatic stance will be locked as ally towards him. To cancel this, you must either do something prestigious, like building a wonder, keeping the relic card for several minutes, or another alternative, or alternatively, the overlord can set you free. Concerning economics, there are some limitations to the storage of resources. If storing more than 1600 of any resource, you will periodically lose bits of it. On the other hand, if you have less than 120 of food or wood, you will gain bits of that resource. An alternative way of gaining stone is by controlling a tall flag, also called hegemony flag. After 12 minutes you will start gaining stone for having it. Gold can be gained in a few ways. By having a castle on an island representing the Americas, you gain gold equal to the value of 1.5 relic. Another possibility is by controlling trade posts. There are 4 spots crucial for trade with the rest of the world, and by controlling these with towers, you gain gold. The more posts you control, the more you gain, exponentially. The last additional way is by having the owner of the castle in Venice choose you as the recipient of economic support from the Treasury of Europe. The player with a castle on the hill must choose a recipient, and not oneself. A standard way of gaining gold is by trade. This is enhanced through the mod, but at the same time limited through the trade republic's mechanic. If you don't have a town center in neither northern Italy, the Netherlands, nor northern Germany, your trade units will take periodic damage if you have more than 8 trade units. There are also some limitations to building defenses in the center. If you have no town center in neither Austria nor Bohemia, your defensive structures in Germany, except near the coast, will take damage periodically. Warships should also stay away from the upper corner, or else they will take damage there. Symbols are placed out to indicate the corners of the systems, and some buildings are also initially marked with names to help locate the mechanics. And more detailed information will be found written in the Steam entry and in-game. I will now end the showcase by pitching the factions you can play as. Player 1 represents France, Scotland, Papal State, and Tatars, with the Civ Franks. They start off with some army and a mostly coherent kingdom in France. Their initial weakness is at sea. They also fulfill the conditions for the Western hegemony and Roman papacy, giving diplomatic power. Player 2 represents England, Portugal, Calvinists, and Zaporozhye Cossacks, with the Civ Portuguese. They start off with some force within its main base on the British Isles and a secondary in Portugal. They also have some exclaves, partly representing the Calvinist communities on the continent, and its strength lies in the possibilities of marine superiority and isolationism. Player 3 represents the Ottoman Empire with the Civ Turks. They start off with a grand empire and great strength both at sea as well as in arms. They lack only strong defenses apart from the fortress of Istanbul and access to the important Germanic areas. They have initially 2 trade posts within their borders. Player 4 represents the Spanish Empire and the Hafsid dynasty with the Civ Spanish. They start with the main part of the strategic Iberian Peninsula under their control, as well as several other valuable points of interest. Keeping all these valuable areas will be challenging though. They are initially fulfilling the conditions of trade republics and the Americas. Player 5 represents Denmark, Norway, Russia, Lutherans, Orthodox, and Wallachia, with Civ Goths. They are completely split into 2 separate areas, both rather peripheral, with very different fields of interest. They also have interests in Central Europe. With a big initial stock of resources, they can choose where to put their main emphasis. They have lots of land and forests. Player 6 represents the Holy Roman Empire with the Civ Teutons. They start in the center of the map with great initial strength, mostly defensive. Germany is their backyard, defended by the HRE system. The position is strategic towards important trigger systems, but simultaneously a huge challenge with factions on all sides. Player 7 represents Venice, Hanseatic League, Teutonic Order, Saudi Dynasty, Mamluks, and Don Cossacks, with the Civ Italians. They represent several small and distant factions, and will have big difficulties keeping it all, even though most of it is walled in well. Initially, they fulfill the conditions of the Trade Republic, Treasury of Europe, and the Balkan hegemony, as well as having the one initial relic. Diplomacy will for them be essential. Player 8 represents Poland, Lithuania, Sweden, Hungary, Persia, and Boyars with the Civ Magyars. They start with two main kingdoms split by the Baltic Sea and the Teutonic Order. They also have some additional exclaves. They have a strong cavalry and good food and wood gathering capacities. They are located somewhat peripheral and with only one big rival in the region. Thanks for watching this showcase and hope you will enjoy the scenario. Don't forget to smile to the flying dog.
Huh.